Hello, welcome to Chat with Dr. Kat. I'm Dr. Kat. Nice to see you today. Today we're going to be discussing Paint the Room Yellow Part 2. I'm going to be focusing quite a bit on the responses that I had been receiving, and I would like to create a discussion about some of the things that you are stating. For those of you who did not see the first episode, please go see the first episode, but I will tell you what it's about. Basically, when you are with a couple working in a relationship and you say to them, I would like these things, my needs met. Now, those things can be specific needs. They can be definitely emotional needs of what you are expecting and needing from the other person. You ask them, hey, could you paint the room yellow? You come back and there's a new carpet. And you say, oh, wow, that's great. There's a new carpet. That's fantastic, but can you paint the room yellow? Next thing you know, you come back. Now there's a new bed. There's a new dresser. Now that everything's moved around. Maybe there's a baseboard painted yellow, one wall, but you still don't have the room painted yellow. Some of you latched onto this so well, got the concepts down. A couple of you asked, actually more than a couple of you, talked about your own feelings, your own experiences of what has happened. And for some people, still trying to navigate their own life and what they should be doing. This is not an easy answer. The best and the most important thing is that you now have awareness. And if you realize that this is your life and you're not happy because you keep asking to paint the room yellow and you just can't even get a brush stroke of yellow on the wall, then you've got to start making some choices. The other things that I was a little bit concerned about that I saw were some people saying, you know what, I gave up, I paint my own room yellow. Now, that's very empowering and it's wonderful. And we should be able to paint our own room yellow. But as social creatures, as human beings, we choose to be in a relationship with someone. When you choose to be in a relationship with somebody, it's not all about you and your experiences. It's about a combined effort of experience. You know, it's like you decide to go to the movies every week. Well, one week it's your choice, the next week it's yours. If it's always the same person's choice week after week, and then when you say, hey, I would really like to go see the new Star Wars movie, and the person says, I'm not interested, but why don't you go by yourself? What? I just spent a year going to every movie you wanted to see, and now I ask for a movie and you don't want to go. Yeah, no, but you can go. Something's wrong there. Something is not accurate there because relationships should be give and take. Now, I'm coming at you with some pretty easy examples of paint the room yellow. Some of you were able to really see how that looks in your marriage, in your partnerships, and that you've been dealing with these issues and you see it. Now let's talk about another serious issue. Someone had mentioned on here that, you know, if it was something to do with taking your kids to a doctor's appointment or something else that's big. If you're in a relationship and you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to be doing this with the kids. What would you like to do? Okay, I'm doing this. But when it comes time for them to maybe take the kids to the doctor's appointment or to take them to the sports activities, and they say, you know what, I don't want to go. I'm too exhausted. I'm not going to do it. But we agreed on it. Okay, then you come back and you say, hey, what I need is for us to reshuffle responsibilities, or you pick up the responsibilities that you agreed to. But having it all fall on me is not acceptable. And the person says, okay, yeah, great. I'll paint the room yellow. Yes. No, we'll keep everything the same. You come home from work the next day at 4:00 and your child is sitting there and you say, hey, why aren't you at lacrosse practice? Dad said he didn't want to take me. so I didn't get a go. But he went ahead and we went for ice cream after school. Okay? That's spending time with your child with ice cream. You now brought in a carpet. But you didn't paint the room yellow, which was agreed upon that you would be taking your child on a regular basis to sports. So now you've affected the child because the coach is going to be frustrated that the child is not showing up, and that blame will fall on that child. Now, what was the reason? Well, I thought I would bond and we'd go to ice cream, and plus I didn't want to really spend 2.5 hours on, the field. So the issue became about the discomfort he had or she had, and really not what was best interest of the child, and definitely was not part of your agreement. Now, if you find the same situation happening over and over and over again, there's a real issue that needs to be addressed in the relationship. Now, here's another thing. Purple Turtle Bee said, and then he says to me, nothing I could ever do would make you happy. Now, that's a defense mechanism. That's a defense mechanism that occurs when the person wants to deflect away from blame. Because when you look at that situation, I took the kid to go get ice cream rather than to sports practice. I thought you would be happy that I spent time with him and took him to ice cream. Okay, so what happens is they start to deflect. It's more about their own issues. It's more about them focusing on self rather than a great mature response should be, you know what? I messed up. I am going to call the coach. I'm going to let him know that it was my fault that I did this, to not blame the kid. It was my fault. I will take accountability. And you're right. I had just told you I was going to follow through, and I didn't. This is all on me. All I can do is apologize, and then my actions will show you how much I'm sorry about it, and it's not going to happen again. And then it doesn't happen again. Okay. Now, that's our ideal world. That's a grown-up having a conversation. That's a grown-up having accountability. Now, for the other person to say, yes, I'm still upset with you, but you took accountability and I appreciate it. I really do. I'm a little upset that you still did it, but okay, I accept your apology, and now I'm going to see you follow through. Then when the person follows through, you don't need to reward them for doing what they should be doing, but just say, hey, it really meant a lot that you painted the room yellow. I feel heard. Our kid feels heard. It means a lot. And I'm looking forward to you continuing to do that. Thank you. Now, when you're at a place where you can't thank the person to reinforce good behavior, you're at a place of resentment. You're at a place of anger because you've probably resigned yourself to those feelings, okay? You've resigned yourself to that experience. When I have somebody that says to me, Trisha Kelly, you've described my husband's behavior 100%. This spoke to you because this is your life and this is what you're feeling. That doesn't mean we have to accept it. We can have communication. When you find yourself at a place of resignation, when you say, I've accepted who they are, this is who they are, I paint my own room yellow, I don't care if they walk away, they go somewhere else, I don't care. Those are words of resignation, and you're resenting their behavior, and you've given up on trying, but you're angry, and you have every right to be angry. Let's not take that away. You have the right to be angry, but here's your choice. Do you want to stay in this angry state? You give up. There is no room for accountability. Do you want to then fight all the time and not go anywhere? Or maybe you go into therapy, you start working on communication, you start doing what you need to do to make it happen so you have a better life. When we're anchored down to resentment and resignation, we feel justified because you're right. I'm not going to take that away from you. You're right to feel that way. Your partner, their choices led you to this place, and this is where you're at. But you create your happiness. And if you keep working on your relationship and you get to the point where you're still in the same place, maybe the relationship isn't working. Maybe there's something else you got to look at. We have one life to live. There is no need for us to be miserable. And I am not advocating leaving a relationship that is great in so many other ways. But if it's great in so many other ways, then you've got tools to work on to build in these other areas. But we do have one life to live. Now, here's another one. Mysterious leg bruise. Love that name, by the way. My spouse does this, then gets pissed when I ask about the yellow walls. But I bought you a new bed. Cool, but not the agreement. See, this reinforces what I was just saying. This is what people feel like. Yes, it's great, but that's not what our agreement was. If you're watching and you're the person on the other side that tends to not follow the agreement, it's exhausting. It's hurtful. It is hurtful beyond, because what you're telling the person is you're invisible and you're not valuable. And if you think you're not saying that, you're wrong. You're wrong. That is what you're saying to the person. I don't care about your feelings. I don't care about your emotions. I don't care about your agreement, because you know what? I have another agenda. I thought this was better, and this is what I'm going to do. Now, if you do think you have a better idea, have a communication. Have communication. Don't bully your way. Don't ignore. Have a conversation. Because I will say this to you. After a while, those feelings of being devalued and invisible get overwhelming. And now you've got someone who's shut down. Okay? They're going to stop arguing with you. They're going to stop screaming at you because they're out. They're checked out. And sometimes there's no coming back from that. Do you really want that to happen in your life? That's what you've got to ask yourself. You know, one doodle keeper said, "This hit hard. I've lived with this person for 30 years. I no longer ask them for anything. I just simply do for myself. If I hear that I thought about you doing blah, 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 but just one more time." Okay. This is a person, one doodle keeper. You're exhausted. I hear you. You are frustrated. When you say, if I hear it one more time, you're coming from a place of anger. You don't want to say, look at me. I have feelings. I have emotions. I have thoughts. I have needs. What I'm saying is important. And if I hear one more time that I'm devalued, that's it. I hear you. I hear you and I see you. It's not okay to feel this way. So what I recommend, work on your relationship. If you struggle with continually being heard, please go seek therapy. A mediator, somebody that can speak for you guys to shed a different light. You know, when you look at adolescents sometimes and you say, they come to you and they say, "Hey, I just saw this reel and they gave great advice." And as a parent, you go, "I just gave you that advice last week." But for some reason, they can hear it from somewhere else. Sometimes it's the same thing about your partner. Go seek therapy. You do not have to have this life where you've been living for 30 years frustrated like this. It can be better. It can. The other part is maybe therapy would also show you that there's some other highlighted things that you could work on that you've forgotten about because you've been so frustrated with being invisible. You have options. You have choices. But I want you to know, I see you. Okay. So Kelly Jorgensen 4. I told my husband this analogy with wanting an apple orchard, and he gives me a glass of orange juice and expects me to pat him on the back. Okay, I hear you on that too. It's the same thing. You know, when someone does for you and they go, "Oh, look at what I've done." And you're like, yeah, that's great, but that's not what I asked for. Or what I need from you is this. Okay, so let me explain this because a lot of people have talked about this. A lot of people where, let's see, Emulsion 89, exactly how I felt for years. There's so many people that have responded with the same thing, saying, this is where I'm at. But here's the thing. This is something that I do with couples, okay? Because sometimes a big factor in a relationship, now these are simple things and they're not necessarily petty. And I know that there was somebody that said that there was an issue with some things petty, and I want to be able to explain this to you. I believe that was, Phoenix, is it macarons? Anyway, so, somebody may feel one thing is petty to another thing. This is huge for them, okay? Like, let me give you an example. Say growing up, every time their mom or dad walked through the door, the other mom or dad or parents would turn and say, oh my gosh, hi. They would get up from what they were doing, run over, give them a hug and say, hey, how was your day? They give a hug and then they go, oh, my day was blah, 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 blah. How was your day? Every day they witness joy when someone walked through that door. And now they're in a relationship where there's a lot of great things going on. They are successful together. They have children together. They go on vacations together. Things are wonderful. But every time they walk through that door, they don't even acknowledge them. They maybe go straight to take a shower. Maybe they grab their gym bag and go, get a snack, and they go, hey. And the person who was raised with knowing that you should greet someone when they walk through the door, and they keep saying, hey, when you come home, it would be great if you came up to me and said, how was your day? Or when I come up to you and say, oh my gosh, you're home. And you don't go, babe, okay, I got to take a shower. Just like, wow, can you bring it down? I just got home. And that person feels defeated, or they feel that way. Then they sit down with them and they say, let's paint the room yellow. What I need from you is that when we walk in the door, we greet each other. And every day that person walks through, because they don't find it valuable, and they're like, okay. But we go on vacations together. I don't cheat. I'm faithful. But, okay. You don't need to be congratulated for doing what you should be doing. You should be loyal. You should be faithful. You should have a marriage, a partnership where you are doing things together and celebrating those things together. But you shouldn't be winning an award for doing things what you should be doing. Okay? So where those things come into play is, what is the big deal walking through the door and going, hi? Okay, so sometimes people struggle with, maybe they feel that they're being performative, or sometimes it's because I'm being told what to do. Okay, well, you've got some being stubborn there. So here's a suggestion I give to couples. If you have a dog, which a lot of people do, and they're always shocked when I say this, when you walk through the door, how does the dog greet you? I'm telling you, they're wiggling, they're excited. Oh my gosh, they're home. They're jumping up and down. If they're taught not how to jump up and down, or they're little jumping up and down, but they're excited and they're twisting their body, and you see in their eyes how excited they are. And then to the human in the house, you go, hey, or you walk to the other room. Why does the dog? Now the dog is very clear that that's how they want to be treated, because they show up every day, okay? Now, and they follow through. So there's something to be said with don't get defeated. If you want to have something happen, maybe lead by example. Keep showing up like the dog. Now, the problem starts to happen when they keep giving the attention to the dog, but not to the human, even though the other human keeps coming up. Now, so this is what I suggest. For 1 week, treat each other like the dog treats you. When you arrive through that door, act like the dog, be performative, be funny, laugh about it, make a joke about it. But I will tell you, 9.5 out of people that come back to me and they go, oh my gosh, what an eye-opener. What an eye-opener. And some people laugh and they say, my God, it started to feel better. Okay, it started to feel better. Some people said, I just felt like it was uncomfortable. And that's your small percentage because there's something else going on there. Maybe they're also checked out and there's something bigger happening. But I will say this, if you're feeling like your needs are not being met and you can step back and look and say, well, is that a small thing? Can I fix it myself? Please fix it yourself. Don't allow all of your happiness to be put in the responsibility of somebody else. We need to create our own happiness. But if you keep talking about something that is really strong for you, whether it's combination of job duties in the house, emotions, feelings, support, how you want to be treated in public, that's another one. I wish I could find that one right now. There was one about how they're treated in public, which I thought, if you tell your person when we go out, please don't make fun of me. When we go out, I get so embarrassed and I feel so humiliated. And the other person goes, I'm joking. I'm joking. Yes, but at my expense. I will learn to be more lighthearted, but please don't focus on the jokes being about me. I have a little bit of social anxiety. See, this is where you're going to make yourself vulnerable, but I'm asking you not to do that. I'm asking you to paint the room yellow. Hear me, listen to me, validate me. Don't treat me disrespectfully. And you go out, okay, and you say all these horrible things and jokes at his or her expense. But I brought you your food. I brought you the glass of wine and I showed them, oh my gosh, isn't she beautiful? Isn't he handsome? Okay. If they've asked you not to make fun of them, please don't. It hurts them. It injures them. It breaks down the relationship. Listen to the other person. Listen. Okay. So here are some other things. Elizabeth Beth Max 17, you said, why does one thank them for the new bed? I got this one a lot too. You want to reinforce good behavior. And again, sorry, I'm going to bring it in with children, but sometimes we, as adults, we do act like children and we find ourselves in these situations. But when you are constantly saying to your children, no, 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 okay? It's not great. You need to be able to reinforce good behavior. Don't wait for them. You've asked them to not put their feet up on the coffee table and you're saying, hey, take your feet off the coffee table. My gosh, every day I have to tell you the same thing. Wait for that moment that the feet are not on the coffee table and you say, hey, thanks so much for not putting your feet on the table. God, you heard me. That is so wonderful. Thank you. You find opportunities to keep reinforcing. It taps into a different part of our brain and it reinforces our good behavior. People do want to have attention. And with children, sometimes if they're only getting negative, they'll keep seeking the negative attention because it's attention. So you have to be able to create the space. Now, here's the other thing. For all you people out there who think they're the ones creating all these issues, why do I have to compliment them? You're right. But people need to work off of a little bit of guilt and not the shame part of it. If you keep shaming them, they're going to keep doing their own behavior. They're going to say, well, I don't have to do it. Look at her. And it's almost like getting back. Okay? That's that childish behavior. But if we say to them, hey, thank you for not putting your feet on the table, there is this little bit of like, oh, you're welcome. But there is this little thing of like, God, I must do it so much. Hopefully, you're wanting that type of awareness. But I know that when you feel defeated, the last thing you want to do is give positivity because the person has hurt you so badly. I get it. but you've chosen this partner. Either get rid of the relationship, which I'm not recommending that you do. If you can salvage it and make it a beautiful relationship, because it can happen. For those people who have been married 30, 27 years, you can turn it around. I've seen it turn around. Trust me, I've seen it. I've also seen relationships crumble because time and time again, the person will not paint the room yellow. They keep bringing everything else in, thinking they're doing a great job, but they don't paint the room yellow. The real work comes into why? Why won't you paint the room yellow? Some people have asked that too. They've said, what do you do after all of that? The whole issue is, what is going on with that individual that they are not willing to paint the room yellow? Have they gotten that far away from their relationship? If that's the case, you guys need to fix it, because next thing you know, the relationship's going to break up and you didn't have the opportunity to fix it. If you are at such a point that you no longer want to help your partner get to a place where they're being a better human being and then you get treated better, you've got to reevaluate your relationship. You have to reevaluate who you are and why you want to continue in such a difficult place. Now, I like this. Molly Patty 1 said, I would thank them for thinking of me. Maybe we can paint the room to yellow to match the bed, which I thought was great, because that, you're wanting to work. You're wanting to work within the relationship, okay? Working together to see how you can do it together. But this is also a person that may not be at such a desperate place of 27 years of feeling the exact same way over and over and over and over again. Here's the bottom line. Life is short. Life is very, very short. Spend the time to work on the relationship. Spend the time. Let the person know. Now, if you've got a person who continually does not step up to the plate, does not even paint a color swatch of yellow on the wall, take a moment. Maybe something is going on with them physically, emotionally, that keeps them locked into a place of avoidance. What's going on there? Maybe if that person works on themselves, they can be better for themselves and the other person. And why not? You've already dedicated 20 years of your life. Why not another 6 months to figure out what's going on? If you are at the place where you cannot come back from resignation or anything else, then maybe you need to start looking at stepping away from your relationship. And maybe this is not the path of where you want to go. But I will say this, my profession took a long time to become licensed, to learn how to compartmentalize my brain, the exam process, then, the doctorate, all of these different things took an extremely long time. I mean, we're talking 10, 11 years. Because people don't know how to communicate. My job, my career, my passion of what I do is learning and teaching and showing people how to learn, how to navigate through emotions and feelings and thoughts, and how to connect those thoughts and feelings together to be a better person, to be a better partner, to be better at what they do. Okay? Effective in their workplace, effective with employees, better with friends, better in general, so that they can be happier. But 11 years, because our brains are that complex. People are stuck in their own way of being. It takes time. Therapy does not happen overnight, because I will tell you this, and I say this all the time. If that was so easy that I had this beautiful magic wand that could change it in a month, there would be a line around the block and state long, okay? Statewide long over and over if there was something magical. It's not. It's hard work. Marriage, relationships, any type of relationships, friendships that are important to you that have gone awry, relationships with your children, relationships in the workforce. They're very hard. They're very difficult. The best way to navigate is to be upfront and have open, beautiful communication. Beautiful communication. I will say this. I learned this from a friend of mine years ago. She always had this party and this annual party. And one year I didn't get an invitation and I thought, oh God, that's weird. But I thought, you know what? She's my friend. I'm going to call her. So I called her. I said, hey, are you not doing the party this year? But I had waited. a couple of weeks. And she goes, I'm too overwhelmed. I just can't do it. She says, but I don't know. If you help me, maybe I can do it. And I said, well, yeah, if you want help, that'd be great. And she says, I'm so glad you reached out because a few people have been so upset that they thought that they were taken off the list. They got angry. Next thing you know, I'm getting angry phone calls, angry text messages, instead of just calling me and asking me, thanks for being a friend. And I was like, oh gosh, that's so great, because I did dwell on it for a little bit, and I was hurt. I was concerned. I thought, wait, and then I was like, oh God, for God's sakes, just call and ask. She's your friend, okay? And that's what I did. Give each other the gift of a conversation. You married this person. You have given your life to this person, your partner in life. You've dedicated your work. You've dedicated your friendship. You've decided to be a parent. Take the time to communicate. And that's why this concept of painting the room yellow, as simple as it may sound, is so important, because we need to be able to say, this is what I need. And if the person is not doing it, point it out. Give them another chance. If they don't take the chance and the opportunity, that's an answer. As frustrating and as painful as it is, if you are in a relationship for that long and you keep telling them and instructing to them what you need while you're doing what they need, that's an answer. You just have to be willing to listen to it and make a choice beyond the answer you've received. So, I hope this has helped you today in our part 2 of Paint the Room Yellow. This kind of couples with my other theory of my cow theory. Look that one up as well. I think you'll enjoy it, because it really does get you to think about what we do to each other and what we do and how long we stay in relationships that may not be the best for us. And you have choices. You either stay, you walk away, or you work on it. I always think you should work on it first. Give it an opportunity. Please keep those thoughts and feelings and all of that coming in. It's so important to talk about it. So I appreciate all your comments, and I do my best to answer as soon as I can. And by the way, that is me answering, not anyone else. So I really appreciate that. And if you have any other thoughts, feelings, go to chatwithdrkat.com. Let me know. If you have any other different episode ideas, let me know. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, let me know. And if there's somebody that just wants to talk out their feelings and you want to be on the show, you want to be vulnerable because you would be out there on social media, let me know. Let me know. Have a great rest of your day.